I should preface the things I'm about to tell you by telling you I'm not some world champion or anything. I'm just a dude who loves martial arts, and I'm lucky enough, blessed enough to be able to do what I do for a living. The most important part for me is to remember, I just want to always enforce. We think the context is fighting. We're here, I showed up, I was learning to fight, right? But really, what we're studying is excellence. So, whenever you're done with your martial arts career, if you're fighting, maybe that's sooner rather than later for some of you, unfortunately, or maybe you fight for 10 years, and then eventually you move on and decide you want to go play bass guitar. I want your time that you spent in the martial arts learning excellence to translate to that new skill that you're learning on the bass guitar. Does that make sense? So we're studying excellence. We're studying a way to better ourselves, a way to make me a better daddy and a better husband, a way to move my body better and to find peace and comfortability in bad situations. That's what we're really looking for. So, having said that, you want to start with the Darce stuff? Is that what you want?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, so I've never done a seminar on this stuff before. I don't know why can't one do it. Apparently I'm getting called Darce as well. I don't know if that's the situation. But I do think I got a strong Darce defense. It's been unfortunately tested against some really good Darce jokers. And so I put this thing through the fire in competition a few times. And it's really important for me to remember that when we're talking about defense, we're really talking about several different levels of defense, right? So, number one, and most importantly, I have to learn to survive before I can ever escape. If I can't survive in a bad position, then I'm probably not ever going to learn how to escape. So, those are, who's been training for less than a year? Raise your hand. Less than a year. Awesome. Most everybody's pretty experienced, so Matt's new. Tell me your name one more time. Danny. Do my best for them. I'm Brandon. And Matt. So I'm going to do my best. So don't yell at me if I forget your name. Or yell at me. You're fine, man. You're fine. In the beginning, during your first year, it's pretty much all surviving. Right? It's just, can my ego take the beating I'm about to absorb? Yes or no? And so, learning to survive, learning to escape. What are you talking about, escape? I just got to stay alive. I'm happy to not leave crying in the first year, right? I mean, that was many times, I pulled back into class, the class is about to start, and I would just be sitting there trying to muster up the courage to walk in the door because of what was about to happen to me. I was a fat guy when I started. That's why I started. I was a fat, out of shape loser, I'm still a loser, but I'm not fat or out of shape. That's the blessing.
2 out of 3 ain't bad.
Chad, come on, let's talk about a surviving position during a head and arm position. So, before we can really investigate how to survive in the Darce, maybe we should understand what a Darce actually is, okay? So, let's go to your side right here. Alright, a Darce is a head and arm choke, yes? So for those of you that may not be familiar with the Darce, just a picture, right? I'm going to do the most simple, basic understanding of a Darce ever, right? Here and here. His head and his arm are caught inside of the figure 4, or whatever variation of that lock that I use. Japanese necktie, Peruvian necktie, guillotine, the arm in, power guillotine style, whatever. There's a million ways to do it. Right? You can flip over for a march or a farce or some of the crazy things that Jeff Glover calls them. But really, at the end of the day, it's all a head and arm choke. Now, I'll show you guys something else. That's the same choke. Why?
Head and arm.
One arm is caught. One arm in, one arm out. That's the same choke. What about, what if I come here, we're rolling them through, like for an anaconda. That's the same choke. Why? Arm is caught. So I'm using, in the case of the Darce, I'm using my forearm on this side to shut off the carotid artery, right? On this side, what most people see is the arm going across. shut off his neck, his carotid on this side. It's not the arm pushing across that puts him into his nap. It's the shoulder going up into his carotid that puts him into a nap. Does that make sense? So there's the Darce. Don't squeeze and pull his arm into his head. Run his shoulder. You feel the difference, Chad? Run your shoulder. Then you get a nap with no squeeze, right? So look, listen here, triangle. Same thing. It's not wrong to pull down his head. In fact, that's a very good thing to do. But not because lifting my hips and squeezing my knees is the right way to do a triangle, but because bringing his shoulder into his neck is the right way to do a triangle. If I lift my hips and squeeze them out, it doesn't mean no good. Why? His neck is completely open. The shoulder is outside the lock. Right? But if the shoulder is inside the lock, I can use that squeeze to run the totally different animal. If his shoulder is outside the lock, then I have to cut my angle over here and bring his shoulder into his neck. You see the difference? An arm triangle. Just flat on his back. Chad's going to get choked a lot today. Y'all like Chad. I love this seminar. An arm triangle. You see people squeezing their balls off. Turn the corner so I can drive his arm across. Well, that's a good idea. But that's not the real objective. The real objective is to run his shoulder into his neck. You feel the difference, Chad? And Chad almost passed out. It's weak right there. Right? So the idea, as an offensive player, is to run the shoulder into the neck and shut something off on the other side. Or shut the carotid off on the other side with something. Right? In the case of a Darce, it's my forearm. In the case of a triangle, it's the inside of my leg. In the case of an anaconda choke, it's my bicep on this side, and it's his shoulder on the other side, right? As I roll through. Everybody understand the principle that we're playing around with? Now, if that is the case, then as a defensive player, as a survivor, what do I need to avoid? Something shut me off on this side, and something, my shoulder going in here. If those are the two things that create a head and arm choke, then if one of them is taken away, does a head and arm choke exist? No. Right? So catch me in a triangle.
This is the only time this will ever happen.
Right? Look, if I can find a way to keep my shoulder away, I'll see people posture up right there. Why does that work? Because my shoulder is very far from my neck. I still got one arm in and one arm out. Why is that tighter? Look at my shoulder. Because it turns the angle of this tighter. But if I open it up, I can start to find space. And now I need a lever, so I go like this. Pop it out. Make sense? With a Darce, what we're going to do, I should preface this too. I had neck surgery in December. So this works. The guy that just had neck surgery in December, I'm pretty sure it's going to leave me something we should use, okay? Alright, so look, Chad is going to catch this real simple day one Darce, right? As he starts, oh man, I'm in bad trouble. So my first objective, the first thing I got to do is to free my shoulder from my own carotid. So he's not squeezing, he's being a nice friend, but imagine he drops that shoulder deeper. And start squeezing, squeeze. And then my little Sharpay hand starts squeezing together, and the blood starts going away. I get a Sharpay hand when I get squeezed. Alright. This time, as he starts to lock it in, what I'm going to do is get raise up just I want to get this shoulder away from this side of my neck. Now it would be awesome if I could just go wham and posture my neck out of there. Unfortunately, I just had neck surgery in December, and there's no just posturing out of Vince's Darce. I'm pretty sure y'all probably figured that out, right? Yeah. So instead of trying to posture, I'm going to find some structural integrity to back up my kinetic chain, right? So as he begins to fold me, or let's say he's already got me folded already. I've got to get to my head here. And keep squeezing. I'm gonna talk. I'll squeeze. And I'm gonna push myself away until I can find this. We'll call this picture here. Squeeze. Squeeze, break it. Break my neck, Here, lock it all the way in, break it. Lock it in, break it. Break it, swim around, go in where you need to go. So does everybody see the idea? Let me get somebody. Take this one. Vince, you got a good Darce?
It's okay.
We're going to find out.
You gotta get Darce. It's okay, said the UFC fighter.
Oh man, here we go. All right, put it to the test here. Go through. All right, go ahead. Go. Squeeze. That's supposed to be able to talk. Squeeze it. Come on, bro.
Calling you out, baby.
Nice.
Makes sense. Now believe. Who believes? Believe. All right, so everybody understand? The idea initially is we're starting from the worst possible scenario. Vince has you locked in a Darce. It's not going to get no worse, right? Everybody agree with that? All right, so let's work backwards from there. So the idea is, oh crap, I got to build some structure and some integrity. So I'm going to start by getting to my head. Not the top of my head, because if I push on the top of my head, if I had hair in the house, as it turns out, I don't. So what I need to do is find at least a little of the front of my head so I can start to build something to get here. You can call it home alone. We call it picture day. Like, we used to call it holding meals, and then I found people didn't understand holding meals. So now we just call it picture day. Y'all know what holding meals is?
Yeah.
You know how you have this when I'm an old man now. When I was growing up, it would be like your family picture, and then there'd be an oval at the top where you gotta, like, it fades in, and the dad is like, or the kids are like, so we call it holding meals, but now it's just picture day. So here, the only way that he's gonna fold my posture is if he can cause my chin to phase through my forearm. Now, if he has some sort of like X-Man powers, it's possible. I haven't run into it yet. The only way he can do it would be to cause me to snap my own forearms. Vince can't do it, so I assume it's one of your weight classes. Right? So here is perfect. Here, I had to do with Vince because I was like praying with this arm. Right? This is perfect. This is 90%. Right? This is 18%. These are just made up numbers. I don't have statistics like that. But from here, I can start to find my posture because I can survive just a touch right here. And then I'll climb up my face. And if I can get to here, sometimes I can survive. I'm not happy about this. But from here, I can find my chin. And now, my posture is connected to structure rather than simply being like, hope my neck is strong enough to survive this. Does this make sense? From here, it's impossible to fold my neck into my shoulder. Everybody see it? Can't do it. It's not possible. So let's all get into the worst possible Darce. Don't try to kill your partner while they're learning how to do it. Take it easy. If you got a funky neck, you need to be with somebody you trust. All right? I recommend staying in your own weight class.
Stay in your lane, bro.
Stay in your lane. So let's all split off. We're going to go 1, 2, 3. When I say 3, we're all going to slap the mat each time. Ready? 1, 2, 3.